Hey friends, what's good? Welcome to Storytime. So, today might be a short story, I'm not sure, but it's about my very first criminal act when I broke the law. And first of all, I just want to apologize to my mom for cutting my shirt. Mom, I love my shirt, but I cut all my shirts. I'm sorry. You can't even see the butterflies or anything. Sorry, Mom. I love you. Thank you for the shirt. Anyways, so today's story about is about when I was around, I must have been about 9 and old enough to know better, that's for sure. And I did something that even to this day, at 55 years old, I regret doing it. Just because it was morally, it was wrong for me to do something like this. And I should have known better. I should have known better. But anyway, so this is the story. On when we lived in 100 Mile House, our fun on the weekends was usually because Sundays everything was closed. Back in the day, stores weren't open, things weren't open, there wasn't much to do. Maybe the odd little restaurant was open for the Sunday dinner, that kind of thing. But we had family time was Sunday. So we would get in our car. My dad would always say, let's go for a drive. And that usually meant we were going to either have a destination that was kind of interesting or we were going to probably eat something somewhere, which, that didn't happen a lot. So you'd go maybe to an out of the way kind of resort and they would have a little kitchen open and you'd pop in there and have a piece of pie or something like that. So Sundays were kind of fun. You just driving around looking at the wilderness. I mean, we had some beautiful scenery where we lived. It was the caribou country. So it was way up there, alpine, gorgeous animals, lots of trees, and it was really quite beautiful. And I remember this one weekend, it was a Sunday, and we got in the car, my brother, my mom and dad, and I, and we headed off to, I can't remember if we were going out towards Green Lake or something like that. But on the trip, I think at the time my dad was still a smoker, and I'm not sure that I think we had to stop at a store maybe to get a pack of smokes. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, my brother or my mom, but we had to stop somewhere for something. So we got to this kind of a resort, a log building, and they had a store inside, and it was really nice, like the old country stores. So we got out of the car, popped into the store. My dad bought whatever he was buying, and remember whining because I wanted something. I was either wanting like a chocolate bar or something like that, and my dad said, "No, no, you're not having that," because I think we were heading to somewhere to have something special. And so I proceeded to, oh, it's so bad. I proceeded to grab a gumball off the counter, like it was kind of down low, where the kids could see the candy and stuff. I grabbed a gumball and I turned around and I put it in my mouth. I should have just put it in my pocket, but anyway, that's beside the point. So I put this gumball in my mouth and I beelined it for the car. And I get in the car and I'm just sitting there and my parents are coming out, my dad and my brother, and they get in the car and my dad looks back and he can see me chewing gum. And I mean, it wasn't a strict life, but you knew what your kids were up to. They're in the back seat. So I'm chewing this piece of gum, looking at my dad. He's looking at me in the mirror and he goes, "Where'd you get that gum?" I said, I didn't know what to say. I was mortified that he caught me. I mean, I'm chewing on this stuff. So he looked at me and he said, "Spit that out right now." And so I spit it out in my hand and he said, "Get out of the car." And I was like, no, what? So I got out of the car and he got out of the car and he goes, "You're going to walk over to that store right now and you're going to go and tell them you stole that piece of gum." It was terrifying to go and do something like that. And I did. I walked in, I had the gum chewed in my hand and I said to the person, "I'm supposed to come in here because I took this piece of gum from you and I'm sorry." And I apologized profusely. And the person looked at me as if, it was no big deal, but realizing at the time that it might have to be a lesson learned, they said, "Well, you're not going to steal again, are you?" I said, "Never again." And I think that was probably the last time I ever stole something. I have this conscience and it would eat away at me for the rest of my life because of that one action. But I do appreciate that my dad, he didn't really yell at me or give me a spanking or anything. He just made me go in and do the right thing, which was apologize. I didn't give the gum back. I put it in the garbage. But I don't steal. Even if you're 8 or 9, because it'll haunt you. It haunts me. It's 50 years later. It still haunts me, that stuff. Anyway, that's my story. I don't have much more after that. But you guys, thank you so much for following and hanging out for my silly stories. And most of them are irrelevant, some of them are nostalgic. But I appreciate you being here. So, like, subscribe, share, comment, and hit the bell. And I apologize for the lighting in here. We've had pouring rain. There's been no sun. So, you kind of got all this artificial garbage light. But, anyways, have a great day, you guys, and God bless you. See you later.